This is News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. And we've got Eddie McBride on the phone, the president and CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. Eddie, how are you doing today?
Matt, I'm fine. Hello, Dave. I hope y'all are off to a great start. Y'all are doing a lot of investigative reporting, aren't you, Matt?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that just falls into my lap there.
Good job. Good to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Good morning there. How are things with you, Edward?
Dave, everything's going well. We're just like a lot of other people. We're slowly reopening, slowly getting back to a level of activity that it's not anywhere close to what we were, obviously, pre-COVID, but we've got a lot of things that are in the planning stages, getting ready to execute a few of them.
Well, Eddie, I've been anxious to have you on because, as I've said before, you probably are the person that has your finger, your thumb on what is going on business-wise in this town. And one thing that surprised me, and I wonder if it surprised you, was the very positive number of jobs report from last Friday.
That's one of the things. I'm glad you brought it up, Dave, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Not only was unemployment nationally at 13.3%, which was good news too, but the best news was that obviously 2.5 million jobs added when they estimated having 8 million losses. That is a 10.5 million job swing, which is very buoying. You know, some folks say that this can't be true. That's got to be an aberration. I think those numbers reflect a little bit better positioning for reopening and getting people started back to work. Nowhere close to we still have 30 million folks that are out of work. Excuse me. But that was great news, don't y'all think?
Oh, yeah. Well, and now I will say that if you read the fine lines, it may have had a lot to do with the PPP, but now that things are opening back up, that even with the PPP running out of money, hopefully we can get those people back to work.
Absolutely, and I think that's the best thing that we can have for our economy. And, they're expecting this V recovery model, and that's the best thing that could happen. Sure,
scaring some people to death, though, politically.
Oh, yeah, and that's good. And people should be scared if they're not expecting to have a recovery, if they don't want to have a recovery.
Or they're trying to stop the recovery.
Yeah, and I think it's natural that folks, obviously, for the period of time that they weren't able to bring their employees back and they were just sitting around, not idle necessarily. There was a lot of people that were really trying to keep their businesses afloat. But and here locally, I really think there's a spirit of increased optimism. I don't know if y'all saw last weekend, but there was a heck of a lot of parties going around at folks' house last weekend. So not that in itself is a good idea necessarily for everyone, but nonetheless, it's the spirit of reopening, and I think that people are going to really try to put a good safe. But I think they're doing it safely. I think that a lot of businesses are operating safely.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a party down our street that was pretty crazy. Had cars all up and down the street, but
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. I have really noticed that there is a lot of the parking lots are just crammed back full. It seems like people are really, really responding to that. And, of course, the other thing, Eddie, this morning a report says that our viruses are ticking upward here in Lubbock. I think we had, what did I say this morning, 9 yesterday?
9 yesterday and 196 active, I think, is what you reported as well. And that's, yeah, of course, that is going to be a continuing concern, and is it controllable? Is that trend expected with the reopening of businesses and folks flowing back out into the community? There's still a lot of folks that are being very careful, which I think they should be, and I think a lot of folks are being semi-careful, which is good. I just hope that everybody else understands that the more careful you are.
How much have you heard about businesses in Lubbock closing down? How many right now do you know that may not be back up once everything opens back up?
From the conversations we've heard, Matt, has been, during the course of, especially early on, before any PPP or the economic impact disaster loans being made available, I would say they were there. We talked to literally dozens. Now, I'm not talking hundreds, but I am talking dozens of businesses saying that I'm just not going to be able to keep the doors open. Now, we are trying to follow back on many of them to find out what their status is now. But I think that you can expect there are right now an unknown number. I can't put my finger on it, and the only way we can is going to be through a course of time. There's folks that obviously we've been talking to, as y'all can imagine, hundreds of businesses on a weekly and daily basis. But some of those folks we haven't been able to get back in contact with because either their phones haven't been answered, or we'll have to go by their places of business and see. Excuse me. So I don't have a good number for you, but I do know there are a bunch, too many. Even a dozen is too many.
So, but at the same time, once this is over and we get back to more of a normal life, do you see opportunities for new businesses to open?
Absolutely. Right from the beginning of this COVID experience, we said, now this is going to be the age of entrepreneurship, because you saw how restaurants reacted. You saw how retail reacted. They were creative on how they were able to keep their businesses operating, even when they were closing. So nonetheless, I think it's very admirable that we've entered into this spirit of entrepreneurship, not just for new startup businesses, but for recreating businesses that already exist. So I think you're going to continue to see that. And I think you're going to see that on a large scale. There's going to be a period by which I think a lot of businesses recreate themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Eddie. We'll be right back with Eddie McBride. We got to take a quick break here on 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO. This is News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO, and we're speaking to the president and CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce, Eddie McBride. And Eddie, what do y'all have starting back up at the Chamber of Commerce?
Matt, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that, because this coming Thursday, I think 2 days from now, we're going to have our first major face-to-face get back together with one of our business after hours. And business after hours is a popular event because people get back together with their friends. They get to socialize. They get to talk business, a lot of business-to-business exchange going on. And this Thursday, Fat Matt Roofing is going to sponsor our business after hours at 4 Golf. And 4 Golf is a Lubbock certified safe environment, and with their outdoor play areas and indoor areas, they're following all the guidelines that the city and the state has laid out for being safely distanced, and following all the restaurant guidelines as well. So we'll get a chance to go out there for our first get back together since March. So that's a good sign. I mean, yes, am I worried about obviously folks not social distancing? Yeah, but people are going to do what they feel like they're going to do and feel safe doing. So as long as, and we good partners with 4 Golf, good partners with Fat Matt Roofing. So very glad to have our first experience, 5:30 Thursday night.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, these protesters aren't social distancing very well, are they?
Isn't that amazing? That and there's nobody government-wise saying that they should be either. Probably too difficult to try to get them to social distance anyway. But nonetheless, there won't be any protesting going on Thursday night, I hope, at 4 Golf.
Yeah.
Hey, let me jump in here, and there's something that's been on my mind. Working from home has kind of been a trend even before the virus. But what I have noticed is a tremendous amount of people now are forced to work at home. And we're seeing this trend explode. I think, at least I am. I can name a whole bunch of people I know that are working from home, and I'm finding that they're doing it. In fact, my daughter-in-law they told her, well, you can just work at home from now on, because she's doing so well from home. And I just wonder. I think this may be a trend that we see explode even after this virus thing passes. What are your thoughts?
Well, when we first started, we've talked about how to work remotely from home for several years. This isn't the first time we actually considered it, but this is the first time we went from 0 to 60 miles an hour in one effort. So we were productive. I think we did well. It proved to us that obviously we do a good job working remotely, teleworking at a distance, and I think that it proved to us that we can do that. when necessary. Now, some jobs are going to be more, you got to be a little bit more face-to-face. It depends on exactly what the industry you're in. But I do think across the board, folks are very confident that now, obviously, although all of us old farts like you and me, Dave, we still pretty much want to have that face-to-face when we can. But now even you and me know that I can do my job remotely without going and glad-handed. And I can do just as good a job on a webinar or Zooming. But nonetheless, that won't replace everyone's functions. There are still a lot of folks that you got to be in the office.
Not. It's not going to. And I was talking to a fellow yesterday that's in the seed business, and he was telling me that their company has really cut back on travel. They used to travel to all these places, and they've discovered that these Zoom meeting will save them a lot of money and be just as efficient. And this is the thing that I'm saying. I think this is going to be a trend that's going to be very dominant.
I think more than work from home, you're going to have a new way to connect with clients that maybe you weren't going to have before. You can expand better, maybe because you can talk to people that may not be as close to you.
Yeah.
Well, just like what I told earlier, the distancing, the models have changed. Like retail, selling curbside. Who on earth ever thought that you could order online and go pick up something? That's even easier than obviously Amazon shopping. So it's got a really good aspect for shopping.
Get it faster too.
Yeah, no kidding. You say, you got it, I'm coming to get it. And my wife especially has done that with stuff like baby clothes of all things, and so it makes it really easy. So we've seen it up close and personal. And I really like the idea of emphasizing shopping online, shopping Lubbock. So that's going to be a new mantra that you hear from us as well.
I think it's going to make websites better too, because I think the one thing I've noticed is that before a lot of websites weren't putting their inventory online, and I think that you've seen more inventory being put online so that you know what you're looking for, and you can actually call and order something.
And what a great model, so that you don't. I mean, there's some things that go and shop, and a lot of people want to compare. You can compare online, but some folks will still be having to go into a store, and we want people to go into the store, but nonetheless, instead of shopping the Amazons and stuff like that, let's shop local. Let's go find our own folks here in Lubbock, Texas, and franchise or small business. We just want that money to be spent in our economy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back with Eddie McBride, the CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. We'll be right back. This is News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. We've got the president and CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce on, Eddie McBride. Eddie, we only have a couple minutes left. Is there anything that you want to make sure everyone knows?
Yeah, much of your listeners that have a business that a lot of folks are already opening, but we've got this. We unveiled this new website, inthistogetherlbk.com, that's got job resources, job seekers, and job providers, connecting them. We've got business recovery information, but more so than anything else, we created this playbook for reopening your business. And it's under our business reopening resources tab, and it's essentially it's a checklist on all the things that you got to do to make sure you cover not only being Lubbock safe, but even beyond as far as what you got to do to operate. So inthistogetherlbk.com, and it's a playbook that really will help any business, and it's been widely used so far. And we think it's going to be very helpful for those folks who are looking for answers on how to safely and appropriately opening and keeping their business open.
All right, and is there any news on my personal favorite event, Lubbock Uncorked?
Yeah, we rescheduled it, Matt, till November the 4th. I'm not looking at my calendar, so I just pulled that completely out of my pocket. So, but yes, sir, we are still planning on it, and it's all going to depend on what the rules are. But we had some no-go dates, so Uncorked is still on the books.
There you go. That's the most important thing. I mean, whenever there's wine available.
Yes, we have to get our priorities straight here.
So, thank you guys for letting us tell everybody. And barbecue's still on the books too. We just hope that we can still pull that off.
Is that still in? I guess that's in October.
Yes, sir. So we still haven't planned. They might have to be scaled back. It all depends on the situation. So it's going to be it's difficult to forecast right now, but they are still on the calendar.
That sounds good. All right, Eddie. Well, we want to thank you for coming on and telling us what's going on in Lubbock businesses. It sounds like everything's going better than it was before, and hopefully we'll continue that trend.
Absolutely, Matt and Dave. Thank y'all very much for having me on.
All right, thanks. All right, next on Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin, I want to go over a little bit of what the Democrats are pledging as far as the transformative change with police reform bill. There's some things on here that I think could be good, and maybe the Republicans need to back, but some things on there that could be very, very, very bad. So we'll definitely talk about that a little bit when we come back here on Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.